Okay, so this is going to be a video showing you how to disassemble the Viparpsectra 165 watt. There's basically just a few tools needed: soldering iron, soldering wire. There's the thermal grease. It's the HY880, and then I've just got basically a selection of electrical screwdrivers, screwdriver for opening, and just a little hammer. That's it. Alright then. Yeah, well, I think that's about covers it. Onto the disassembly of the unit. Right, okay. So basically we've got 8 screws all around the perimeter, all around there. So they all want coming undone first. One side. Alright, and basically it should just lift out like this. Okay, now if you look just in this little section here, you'll probably find, if it's your first time opening your unit, that there's like a red silicone, and it's just, you just cut it or snap it. It's not actually anything electrical or anything that's going to cause a problem. Some of these wires might be a little bit tight up in this cable tie, so just pull them out and pull them through. Just saves the wires stretching too much on this circuit board. Yeah, so basically that's it. You shouldn't ever get these. This is your first channel, that's your second channel. Fan for the first channel, fan for the second channel. So this is just what connects the light board up to the circuit. So all you just take those apart, and then it's just these 8 screws again on the light board that all need to come off. Right, and so whilst I'm doing this, I'll talk about the configuration we're going to do. Obviously, many of you probably know that the channel 2 on these lights is primarily, well, it's all white, and it's too much for a reef tank. Others might argue, but I think the majority of people probably agree. You need more blue, you need more purples, more violets, maybe some more UV. As to how many whites you want to get rid of, that's sort of, entirely your choice. But I'll flash up on the screen now the original layout, and also the layout I've gone with. Okay, as you can see, I've basically replaced a lot. Most of the whites, there's just 4 remaining, and it's just the white channel's been replaced with some violets, which are the 420s, the royal blues, which are the 450s, and the bright blues, which are the 470s. And I've put a new UV 410 in the centre as well. I was tempted to put a few more in, but just whether it gives the corals more fluorescence, or maybe the 420s are going to be substantial enough for that, and obviously along with the more the royal blues, I'm crossing my fingers it's going to have a bit more coral pop. So just the one UV for me, but you can always replace some lights, some more diodes in the future if I decide I want to go a bit more extreme on that front. So there we go, that's the light board out. Okay, heat sink on the back, and then all your lenses. Now your lenses, easy, they just basically pull off. Well, that one's, yeah, there you go, they just pull off. I've already actually replaced the 2 outer ones in the centre and the 4 corner ones on this board. So there's 23 in total for me to replace. So 17 for me today. This is my second board that I've done, so I'm starting to get a bit of a hang of it. So hopefully I won't look like too much of a novice when I show you guys. Right then. So there's my sheet. Can we see that? It's hard to see on this camera. Right, okay, so there's my sheet. I don't know if you can see, but I've already put a line through the new ones. Some have got a cross through. They're basically the 6 that I've replaced on each board. Well, the 6 I've replaced on this board. I've obviously completed the other board, so they've got a cross through. So it's try and get organised. I'll put an image up of these of the layouts. You know, obviously the original ones are a good one to use, and then you can maybe just do a spreadsheet, or maybe I'll put the spreadsheets up actually, and then you can swap and change whatever configuration, you know, suits you. But the board is actually numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, all the way up to 11 across the tops. As you can see, maybe, I don't know, it's probably out of focus. But if you label your sheets and then, you know, and cross them off as you go, do one at a time. Definitely do one at a time. I heard somebody saying, yeah, just do one at a time, because if you get carried away and then you don't know if you made a mistake. I was like, yeah, fair enough. So I started off doing one, putting it back into the board, turning it on, testing it, it worked. Did that a few times, excellent. Started to get a bit cocky. So I thought, I'll go and do 3, did 3, fine, did another 3, fine, did another 3, and completely lost the white channel. And obviously then I have no idea which of the 3 was the problem. I had to go back through all 3, thinking maybe it's a dead diode, because it's obviously a continuous circuit, like fairy lights on a Christmas tree. If one's out, it breaks the whole circuit. So I went through all the 3 that I'd just done, replaced them, thinking it could be a dead diode or a weak connection, and it still wasn't working. And I'm thinking, oh God, is it something to do with the box? Have I blown a transformer or something? Luckily I've got 2 lights, so I took the other light apart, put the light board in that, and that one worked. So it was obviously something to do with my wiring. Still couldn't work it out, and then I actually accidentally, because I've been putting my lenses back on after I've fitted each diode, I took one of the lenses off from previous ones that were working fine, and one of the contacts had broken, and that's all it was. So always just best practice, do one at a time and put it back and test it. It doesn't take long to do that. So yeah, right. So I'm gonna go and I'm gonna start. I'll probably start sticking some blues in. So I'm gonna work around the perimeter and then on the inside and just do it that way. So we'll start at number 3 and number 1, which is that one there. Okay, diodes off. And I'll spin the board around. This is just something that I can press up against. A Christmas cracker thing. Right, so how well can you see this is the question. Not probably very well. Right, hopefully that's a little bit better. So hopefully me soldering iron's warmed up enough. Now basically you'll find that underneath this diode some boards just have the thermal grease, which is just simply a case of desoldering both terminals and the diode should just pop straight off. Now obviously both of my boards have the thermal adhesive underneath the diode, so you have to pop both terminals and then you have to chisel the diode off the board, which sounds scary, and the first time doing it really was, and I nearly gave up after the first one, but soldiered on, and it's actually not that bad after all. So it just needs a little bit of a tap, and that's it really. I'm just gonna pop off those 2 just so they're not in my way. There we go. They just basically just lift off and push on. You see underneath where the hole sections are, that's the bits that fit over your terminals. So they just clip it straight down onto the terminals. Right, so my soldering iron's not the best, but it's been working, so I'm just going to go ahead and start trying to desolder, just warming up the terminal. I stick a little tiny electrical screwdriver underneath just to the side of where the terminal is, and if you just sort of get the terminal warmed up so it starts to go a bit shiny, and then you just gently sort of keep pushing your screwdriver through and maybe just lifting, and well, you will see on this camera, but as you sort of start to desolder, you'll hear it crack and pop off, and if you just sort of lift gently with your screwdriver, you can get it through, and that is now loose. And just hold it up for a couple of seconds, just let it cool down before you drop it back down, otherwise it'll stick back onto the board. There you go, and then same for the other side. Screwdriver through as much as you can, don't force anything, you know, you'll know when it goes, and you just got to be patient. I mean, maybe the first diode would take you half an hour, and I think probably mine did, but you'll get faster as you go, and hopefully the results will be, you know, will be worth it. But you know, it's there's not really a lot that can go wrong. I mean, it's just a PCB board. It's just, you know, copper strips that these are soldered to, and that's it really. So I think that's the second one gone. Maybe just desolder it a tiny bit more. Okay. Right, there we go. That's it. Both off. Let it cool. Right, there we go. So that's that done. So if you're one of the lucky ones, and you've just got the thermal paste under your board, you should just be able to lift your diode straight off. But not for me. Right. So here's the fun bit. You want a same screwdriver again. It's just the tiniest little electrical screwdriver. Just stick it under. Get your hammer. There you go, pop. You don't have to whack it, just be gentle, and you know, that diode's good to use again, you know. Which I actually will be using it again, because I want to replace one of the yellows on the outer, these here. One's a 12K, but the other one that's, you know, symmetry and across is a yellow, and I want to have the symmetrical side, so I'm going to have to replace one of the yellows for the whites, because the whites there, the two whites are adjacent from each other there. So that's that. That's I can go in my 12,000K bag. There we go. And on to the diodes. So yeah, so the diodes, they're just a 3-watt Epistar, I think. You can get them on eBay. Only about 150 each. So there's my 4 bags. Royal purples, 420s, bright blues, 470s. There's me ultraviolet 410. In fact, it might be a 395, but yeah, that's all I could get hold of. And the royal blues, which are the 450s, and that's the one I'm going to replace first. Right. Hopefully you can still see me now. Let me just have a quick check. Right, just hold it over the board a little bit more, I think. Okay, so thermal paste. I might put up a screenshot of this to see if I can be bothered, but basically one side of, you know, if you've got the same ones as me, one side of the LED will be bigger, will be wider. Just do your research, because one side's negative and one side's your positive, and it doesn't necessarily say it on it because it's quite a small diode, but if you do your research, you'll tend to find that the wider side, you'll see when you take the older diodes off, the negative side has actually got like a negative slot out of the terminal, so that's the negative side anyway. Right, so just in case, I'll get your diode. No, I'm shaking. Oh, there we go. Stick some thermal paste on the back. There we go, plenty on. Maybe I put too much on, but it's better than the diodes burning out. You definitely have to do it, don't miss that step. And then I'm gonna go that way around, like so. Stick it down into there. Okay, right. Now, all I aim to do initially, I like to hold it down, get it on the first terminal, heat it up again. It should just solder to the solder that's already on the board, at least to hold it to begin with. Okay. Right. That's that one. And then same with this side. I just use a little screwdriver just to press it down so I can get pressure on the terminal. And the other side's popped off. Try that side again. Nah, typical. Right, okay. So that's been a bit of a pain. This LED I've actually got, it seems the terminals are just raised up a little bit. So what I would usually do is just solder both sides down, just lightly, and then come back, hold the soldering iron on, and then just dab in some soldering wire just into the terminal, like so. There we go. Right, so that's definitely stuck now. And then it's just onto this side again. Get me soldering iron on there again. There we go. Right. See. And then just dab in a tiny bit of soldering wire in there, that's it. And hold it down. So if you don't hold it down, well, this is what happens with me. If I lift my soldering iron off, it just becomes unstuck. So I like to hold it down. There we go. So that's nice and steady. Thermal paste squeezed out a little bit, but that's it. There's one diode done, and now on to testing. Right. Time to plug in your cable. Don't have it turned on at the mains. If you do and you touch this bit, you're going to get a shock. So, talking from experience there. Right, plug in there. Okay, still turned off. Bring your board back. Board back in. Obviously, which way around it goes. Can't go that way because your leads aren't going to reach. Okay, so it goes this way around. I like to sit it just there. Okay. That lead back in round. They only go one way around. Make sure you take a note. You can see there's some little tongue and grooves. Okay, that one in there. Okay. Plug on. There we go. Lift the board up. Turn it on. Probably my blue channel will be the one that comes on first. It's making a noise. Never noticed that before. Didn't do it on my other board. Hopefully it's not a bad sign. Right, so it's not coming on because it's before my light's on. So I'll do menu channel 2. There we go. So there we go. As you can see, there's the diode that we replaced there. So that's lit up. Okay, all good. Happy days. That's it. Only another 16 more to go.